Well, hello, welcome back once again to another Tour Gripply Barnard update. I'm recording this on the 15th of May. I know this has been a whole lot longer since the last video, well, a whole lot longer than I wanted it to be since the last video I recorded for this. I'd originally wanted to do one about 2 weeks ago. Well, a long time before then, but about 2 weeks ago, because I graduated that week. I graduated the 5th of May, but I decided not to film an update video that week and mention that because I didn't want people to kind of know, well, in case anybody that watches this kind of around where I live, I didn't want anybody to know it'd be like really far out of town, like 12 hours out of town for 3 days, because you kind of can't trust everybody nowadays. Most of my friends feel like I can trust, but they might tell somebody else and they come and just rob the house blind, so didn't really want that. Last week was really busy with work, so I was able to get to it that week. So I'm doing it this week. But yeah, I graduated 2 weeks ago, so I'm now a full-fledged game designer. Gonna get my diploma really soon. They're mailing it to us. They didn't have it ready for the graduation, but that, I think, from what I can gather, is pretty standard. Happened like that for my high school as well. But so I'm now graduated. We had a nice little trip down to Florida, well, to the Orlando area. It was pretty interesting. Stayed down there for a day. It takes 12 hours to get down there. So we drove down there one day. We were there for the graduation the next day. Then we drove back the day afterwards. It was pretty interesting. The drive was good though. Got lots of design work done for a couple games. I'll talk about a little bit later. But I'm now fully a game designer, still working with Razor Edge Games as a level designer, doing a little bit more work there. Also, if anybody follows my Twitter, I don't think anybody does, but if anybody does and they see an overload of posts from work, that is actually part of our assignments there. I don't know if I'm actually supposed to be saying this, but I'll say it anyway. We have you're supposed to do some social media posts for your stuff. But I think I'm now going to try doing something with the game's forums, so I don't have to just fill up my Twitter with nothing but stuff from work. Because I'm doing a whole lot more stuff there now, so to do a whole lot more of them. So if anybody was wondering why it's all just that, that's why. See some other stuff I'm working on. I've somewhat recently started writing a book. I don't know if it's actually going to turn into anything, but it's something I'm writing. It's like a little life advice stuff. Pretty interesting. If it ever gets released, I might recommend you read that. It's really up to you. Let's see. Next thing. Let's see. Oh, EDF. Well, first things first, I'm probably right after this going to record the intro beginning video talking about the bike challenge, which I'm going to be doing. It's not going to have any gameplay, but it's just going to be explaining it. It's not going to explain each episode, like the different rules and stuff I put in place for myself. I'm going to try to film that and then get that edited up and get that uploaded after this. And now I'm going to work on recording, practice recording for the EDF and see if I get the audio levels balanced and everything to make it sound decent where you still hear what's going on but not overwhelming what I say. But that should be interesting. And I'm still in the process of trying to convince Yeti to record it with me and Jason. I don't know if we're ever going to do that or not, but I think he wants to. But if you follow any of Yeti's stuff, you know about the moving updates and whatnot. So there's stuff going on with him. That's probably why we haven't done it. Even though we've played a lots of EDF, we have played a whole lots of that. Still need to finish doing the DLCs. Those have been interesting. But we're gonna try recording that at some point. See, the next thing on our docket. Well, I've started working on one of my own games. Don't really want to do much announcement for it, but I guess I'll go ahead and say what the name is and reveal the logo. Well, I'm going to reveal the logo once the B-roll footage finishes, because I know this video is going to go past the spare B-roll footage I have, but I don't really know exactly what the timing will be, so it will appear after that. It might have already appeared at this point, I'm not sure. But the name of the game is Conversation Simulator. Just kind of ignore the simulator part till I can reveal gameplay, because I know simulators I think have a bad rap with the naming now, or like if you see simulator in the name, it kind of means it's going to be a bad game. Because a lot of simulator games that have been released recently have been bad, like meme games, so they haven't really been that good. And like I know I myself don't have a good light of them. I don't think highly of a game with simulator in the title anymore. But it fits for what this game is going to be. But basically, a quick like rundown what the game will be. It's like a cross between a visual novel and a dungeon crawler. That will probably make no sense until you actually see the gameplay, which I'm going to hopefully reveal soon. I'm a little bit stuck with some of the, I was doing a little basic enemy stuff, and one of the enemy AIs is giving me a little bit of trouble. I want to finish working on that before I do some more stuff, but hopefully once I get that done, finish up the other enemies and do a little bit more work with the player, I'll have like some video to actually show off for that. But for the time being, right now, I'm making a like proof of concept game, which is just going to be like a, I cannot say short scenario. It might be like a 1 hour, 2 hour long, depending on how long I do the dungeons and everything. But I'll make like a little proof of concept that has basically all the elements of the game I want to make in it, but it's just not going to be that big. But just kind of prove that they all work and get all like the base work done before I go back and make a bigger game using it. But the bigger game was mainly just more stuff, so it shouldn't be that much like extra coding work. It's just like a lots of like adding in more dialogue, different enemies, more dungeons, a way to make them all unique, maybe doing like different art designs for each dungeon, different art designs for the enemies, to make each like feel different. So just like a lots of stuff work. About making this base game to prove that this game can be interesting to play and be rewarding and satisfying before I spend the time and money to develop that bigger game. I'm going to make this game, and I'm probably going to like release it on Steam for like $5. I want to do like the bigger one for 20, maybe 30, depending on how big it is once it's actually finished. But do this first one for about $5 and see if people are interested in buying it and playing it. And those $5 will, once Steam takes its like cut of the money, will all that money will go into developing the next game, which will be a whole lot bigger and a little bit more randomization and stuff, so it doesn't feel like the same game each time. But this is something I feel like will be a very interesting game once it's released. Once I can like reveal more information, I might go write up a blog post on my like official website about this game if anybody is interested in reading a little bit more details about it, because I feel like I can explain it a little bit better in like written words than I can just talking about it. Especially right now, my just got up in my voice for some reason is like my throat is really dry, which you can probably hear that. But someone will be. I think I might try doing that to give a couple more details about it. But that's one of the things I'm working on when I'm not working for Razor Edge Games. Is my free time I'm working on coding the stuff up for that and doing some of the other things for it. Probably going to have a small little Kickstarter for it once I get a whole lot of more stuff done for it to like raise some money. It probably won't be like that high an amount, like the goal, but just raise some money to, for the most part, put it towards the art. Cause with the visual novel elements, it needs like some good art for that. Also, the dungeon crawling thing stuff needs some good art too, but not like. I think you probably more easily find people who can make different like sprite things for the enemies. Cause imagine this is kind of like Binding of Isaac, those type of like sprites or like enemy designs. Well, not copying those enemy designs, but like a similar art style. Art style I think also means kind of like you're copying, but like how they like the art aspect of that, something similar to that, like not visual novel drawings. I think it's easier to find somebody to do that than it is to do like the visual novel drawings. So I think the visual novel drawings will be like the most expensive to do too, because I know some games about that was like maybe to say the most expensive, but the most time consuming, because it takes a while to draw good art. So that's one thing that might slow this game down to being released from the Kickstarter. And then, depending on the cost of that and how much money we raise, I also want to pump the other money into the audio, because I'm not super good with audio either. But I can probably find some like placeholder audio, at least for this first like proof of concept game, because I think the art is a little bit more important, and I think it's hard to find placeholder stuff for that, at least for this type of game. But I can probably find some placeholder audio, but put some money into audio too. Just kind of depends on how much everything costs. Gonna be looking for an art person and an audio person, but that's gonna be later down the line. Probably around the time actually near the Kickstarter, which I was originally hoping to be about maybe do it in 2 months or like 4 months, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with this one thing of codes. It might take a little bit longer, and I forgot I also need to do some of the story stuff into the game probably before I do the Kickstarter, which it's not that hard to add that into the game. It's just kind of time consuming writing all or putting all that story into the code and getting it to play and all that kind of stuff. That might take a little while. But something I want to do before I do the Kickstarter, I want to actually show off basically a almost complete game, but just kind of need some more audio and some art. That's basically my goal for the game to be, what I want the game to be when I do the Kickstarter. To raise a little bit of money to finish developing this one, and then the money I get from selling this game, I will put into making the bigger game later, which will probably take like 2-3 years to make that game. Also, depending on how much art stuff, because I kind of want a fair bit of art stuff for that game, so it might take a whole lots of time. But I guess that's kind of enough talk about that for right now, without going into too much detail about some of the stuff I kind of want to keep a little bit more secret. Oh, another thing though, for like I think the final topic, is I'm thinking also about making a Patreon, and this would mainly go for like that game I am making. So like some, I guess, people who maybe backed on Kickstarter don't have the money then, or like maybe wanted to, they can come like donate some money on Patreon if they want to. I don't really expect anybody to do it, especially not right now. But I might go ahead and make it now, like make it ahead of time just in case. And then somebody also mentioned somebody in Yeti's Discord chat. I wish I could remember who it was, but mentioned I might could do some like game design stuff too with it. So like I can talk about the game I am making, but also like just talk about some coding stuff and game design stuff in general and upload those videos. They can be like Patreon videos. And I'm thinking about maybe doing that. What I'd probably do is have some like basic coding Unity videos up on my channel and make those like open to the public. But those are just like some basic ones, like nav mesh movement basics. Because I would like some more of those. I couldn't find that many on YouTube when I looked. That was a while ago. So do something like that. But then, like for the Patreon videos, those are like coding, game design things that are directly related back to the game I'm currently making. So that's not like public, showing off all the aspects of the game I'm currently working on, so like somebody can't just go and copy it. But for the people who pay some money on Patreon, which you think do like $8 minimum, but at least somebody stole something from me, they gave me $1, I guess. But then like they have to pay to like see all of that kind of stuff, and I might work that into like a Kickstarter reward too, maybe something. It kind of just depends. But that's like a way to make a little bit extra money, and probably all that money will go into paying for the art and the audio of those 2 games I'm working on, the proof of concept game and the bigger game. So I think I'm about to try doing that, so stay tuned, because I'll probably do like another video talking about when I actually go and make that. So if anybody is interested, they can check it out. I wouldn't recommend doing it, at least not yet. I will probably make like another video, or maybe make the first video about it once I actually have something to show for it. Because I don't want to make a Patreon that doesn't really have anything, any rewards. But I think I might go ahead and make it now, so I'll have it once I'm ready for it, so I don't have to spend that time then making it. That's just kind of my thoughts. Although I've also been in the mood to do a bunch of like design work, or not even say design work, but making all these documents and like business pages and stuff for like a Kickstarter and a Patreon. I don't know why, for some reason I felt motivated to do that more so than actually like work on my project, which is bad. Although I also have the regular work I do each week with Razor Edge Games now. But I guess that's basically it for this update video. Stay tuned. I would like to do one once a week still, or about once every 2 weeks. Although I fall behind on these extremely quickly. It's shameful how quickly I fall behind on them. But thank you for watching this. If you did, if you have any like comments about what I've talked about, feel free to leave them below. I would greatly appreciate any feedback that is given to me. I hope to be able to deliver an interesting game. I would like to do it before the end of this year, although I'm not sure how likely that's going to happen now. Although if it is also later than the end of this year, I should have got some money from Razor Edge Games, so that would be nice. I can use that to help fund this game too. But so thank you for checking this out. Feel free to leave any kind of any kind of comments, negative, positive, anything. And I look forward to reading them, and look forward to making another update video for you hopefully next week. So until then, this is Tor Gripply, Paul Barnard, signing out. Goodbye.